Tonight's new moon may be invisible, but that doesn't make it any less significant. It's not often we get excited about a new moon from a skywatching perspective, given that you can't see anything from the vantage point of Earth. New moons occur when the illuminated half of the moon is facing away from us, leaving us seeing nothing but darkness. But tonight's new moon is a particularly special one. Hello and welcome to KYC News. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. It's the closest new moon to Earth since the year 1030. At 3:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2054 GMT, the moon will be exactly 221,561 miles, 356,568 kilometers away from our planet, according to TimeAndDate.com, opens a new tab, which sifted through data from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory to determine the distances of every Earth-Moon distance for hundreds of years. Because the moon's orbit is not perfectly circular, but elliptical, its distance from Earth changes all the time. The next time the new moon will be this close will be on January 20th, 2368, and that moon will actually be 6 miles, 9 kilometers closer than this one. By comparison, the moon's average distance is 238,855 miles, 384,400 kilometers away. Now, if this moon were a full moon, we'd consider it a supermoon, which occurs when the moon is near perigee, or its closest point to Earth during its orbit, and therefore appears bigger and brighter in the sky. But since it's a new moon, the skies will be totally dark. But the tides will still be impacted by this invisible supermoon. Earth will experience a king tide, or an especially high tide, sometime around this date. But this moon is special for another reason. It marks the Lunar New Year, a major festival celebrated across Asia, particularly in China. This year is the Year of the Rabbit, per the Chinese zodiac, a 12-year cycle during which each year is represented by a different animal. All over Asia and in Asian communities around the world, friends and family will gather over good food and good laughs, with plenty of good luck to go around. If you don't have all the gear you need to see the night sky up close during the new moon, our guides on the best telescopes and best binoculars are a great place to begin. If you're looking to take the best photos you can of the night sky, check out our guides on the best cameras for astrophotography and best lenses for astrophotography. This weekend, the moon will be absent from the night sky as it rises and sets with the sun, its shaded side facing our planet during the day. This is what's typically known as a new moon, and this month's new moon also happens to be the closest to Earth since the year 992. It might be news to you that the moon isn't always at a constant distance from Earth. It is circling us, right? Well, the thing is, the moon's orbit around Earth actually isn't a perfect circle, but more of an oval or an elliptical shape. This is why we often get a few so-called supermoons each year in which the full moon appears a bit larger because it's also at the closest point in its orbit, called perigee. The scientific name for a supermoon is perigee syzygy. But even though the moon will similarly be at its closest point to Earth this Saturday, aka reach perigee, the event will overlap with a new moon rather than a full one. EarthSky looked at new moon data from NASA that extrapolates the moon's position forward and back centuries. It revealed that Saturday night's new moon will be as close to that moment of exact perigee as it's been in over a millennium. What's more, the new moon won't be this close again for 345 years. Watch the sky. A comet, ring of fire eclipse, and many meteors. What to see in the sky in 2023. Bright green comet ZTF is heading our way and nearly visible to the naked eye. Sun unleashes intense X-class solar flare, with more blasts expected. Put it together and this is the closest new moon in 1,337 years. Of course, this is a milestone that will be largely invisible to the human eye and even difficult to detect with professional equipment and know-how. But the presence of our glowing satellite's extra closeness will be felt on Earth. Even when invisible, the gravity of the moon still affects tides on our planet's surface, and Earthlings around the world will want to be on the lookout for potential king tides this weekend that could bring flooding to coastal areas. On Saturday, the new moon will be at the closest it has been to Earth since the Middle Ages. According to calculations by TimeAndDate.com, the new moon has not been this close to us in 993 years and will not be this close to us for another 345 years. The new moon, due to its proximity to Earth, will be the largest it has appeared in the sky since December 3, 1030 CE, according to data Time and Date reviewed from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The next approach this close will take place on January 21st, when the moon will be 356,568 kilometers, 221,561 miles, from Earth. After that, you'll need to wait until January 20th, 2368 to experience it. Why so close? The moon's orbit of Earth is not a neat circle. Your little toy solar system that you keep on your desk is lying to you. The orbit is elliptical, meaning that at times the moon is nearer or further away, with the most extreme point being known as the apogee, and the closest called the perigee. If perigee or apogee coincides with a new moon or full moon, when the Earth, moon, and sun are in alignment, the moon's closest and farthest distances become more extreme, Time and Date explains. The most extreme Earth to moon distances take place when the Earth is closest to the sun, which this year happened on January 4th. Of course, there is no point in telling you to look up for this one, as the new moon phase is when the moon disappears from our view for a few days and is invisible to the naked eye. However, if you look up in February, you will see an object not seen since the time of Neanderthals, so keep those neck muscles loose. Have you ever claimed that you could get the moon for your partner in a sudden fit of romance? Well, now might be the right time to make good on that promise, because tonight will be the closest the moon has come to our planet in the last nearly 1,000 years. On Saturday, January 21st, 2023, the new moon is expected to be precisely 356,568 kilometers from Earth, the average distance being 384,400 kilometers. The last time the moon came this close to our planet was 992 years ago, in 1030. The moon orbits Earth on an elliptical path rather than a circular one. And this is why it isn't always at a constant distance from our planet. And when the moon is at the closest point in its orbit where it looks slightly larger, we call it a supermoon or the perigee. And while this supermoon is very special for the aforementioned reasons, there is a slight snag: we won't be able to see it. The perigee this weekend is coinciding with a new moon. What happens when the sun and moon share the same celestial longitude, a position also called a conjunction? During the new phase, one can't see the moon from Earth because the illuminated side is facing away from our planet. So this once-in-a-millennia event will not be visible to us and would be difficult to detect even with professional equipment. But fret not, for even as we cannot see the moon, we can most definitely feel its presence. Despite being invisible, the moon's gravity will still affect tides on our planet's surface, and people worldwide must be on the lookout for potential king tides this weekend as they could flood coastal areas. Meanwhile, astrophysicist and science communicator Graham Jones noticed this anomaly when he looked into the closest Earth-moon distances at the new moon over 2,000 years. Jones found 3 new moons where the distance was less than 356,570 kilometers in 1030 this weekend and in 2368, 345 years later. This makes Saturday's new moon the closest in 1,337 years. Furthermore, Venus and Saturn will be in conjunction tomorrow. The pair will be visible from New Delhi at about 6:07 p.m. IST, 16 degrees above the southwestern horizon, in the evening hours. They will then sink towards the horizon, setting 1 hour and 39 minutes after the sun at 7:30. They might fit in the same field of view if seen from certain telescopes and binoculars. The spectacle will also be visible to the naked eye.